Alright, welcome to another YouTube Live, everyone. We're going to be going over BTC. Definitely a lot's happened in the market. We got to push to the downside, breaking our key level of support. So now we are definitely looking for short opportunities in the market. Also for the Performante Premium members, if you have not seen, I posted in the daily or day trading charts, I think. Day trading alerts, sorry. I posted in the day trading alerts that I'll be now day trading as well as swing trading. I used to just swing trade mainly because it just helps people give more time to actually act on any trades that we're taking and kind of in that regard. But now we are incorporating day trading and swing trading. A, I miss it. B, there's definitely opportunities in the market that we could capitalize on from day trading, and we don't really have to wait an extended period of time compared to what we use for swing trading, where, you know, right now we're waiting for a pullback to form the higher low, or sorry, the lower high, sorry, because this is a high, this is a lower high, this is a lower high, and then we're looking for a lower high to enter on the short. But then, you know, until that point onwards, we're going to have to be patient. We're not going to enter on any bullish moves or anything, so we got to be patient. And for that reason, we are day trading as well, mainly sticking to liquid pairs that have high volume, looking at the main pairs: Ethereum, Ripple, BTC, you know, the pairs that have the highest volume every single day on average. Those are the types of coins that we'll be looking to enter in. So in that said, now let's look at the potential 4-hour and hour chart for BTC, just making sure things are looking good on the live here, and they are, which is good to see. So actually taking it all the way back to the 1 hour, we'll look at a few 1 hour charts here. We got a pretty solid break here, breaking the level of support. So now, like we talked about, we made a lower low. Now we're looking for a lower high, and we're looking to enter a short. Potential first level will take profit. I think minimum is going to be around 82 if we are looking to short the lower high here. And then we got a major long-term demand zone at around 7,600. So we got a few targets that we could reach. And right now, we're just making the extension to the downside, making our solid push. And we're going to hopefully get a nice pullback here. Like we saw many times, you know, back in previous price action, this consolidation where you had rising higher lows and higher highs, and then it pulled back, and then it had a little bit of a consolidation before the move to the downside. You know, we could see something like that here as well. So this is the consolidation phase where we saw lower highs but held a level of support, and then we made a move to the downside, and now we're looking for that nice consolidation. Might not come all the way up to this point here. We don't exactly know. We have to look at the smaller time frames for that, but that is what we're looking for, because that is now the market structure. It's made a bearish move, got sell pressure coming into the market. Now, with shorts, especially looking at the larger time frames for BTC, we want to be a little cautious. We want to be, we want to make sure that we are taking profits a little bit quicker, in my opinion, especially now, because looking at the weekly, you know, looking at the monthly, we can see we're still in a bullish trend. Like, yes, we did pass this level of support, so hitting this ascending green line is not out of the question at all. That's still a possibility, but you know, it's in still confluence with the 78-ish $100 area of support. So that could be the last zone that we touch, kind of like we saw this green zone get touched multiple times on the way up. We could see that yet again here. So still looking for shorts, still wanting to see that pullback and then it move to the downside, but overall, it's looking fine. There's no gap on the CME futures recently. There is that one right there, so we'll inevitably fill it when we do make it back up there. Currently at a level of support on the CME futures, previous level of resistance right here, as well as the ceiling on this consolidation. And then looking at the daily chart on Gemini, yeah, exact same situation here. Not a tremendous amount of sell pressure coming into the market or sell volume compared to what we saw in the previous pushes to the downside. We see actually very little, which is actually a really good thing. Got a no supply there, but the supply inevitably came and pushed the price down. But now we have a nice descending trend line that we can use to see where the price is now going to break. Sort of like we used this descending trend line. Remember this descending trend line right here from the anchor point of 14K, and it came all the way down. Once we broke it, we got a very strong push to the upside, starting 2020 off very strong. Now we got the same sort of situation where you got a descending trend line right here, where it is now a valid level where price is respecting it multiple times. And once we're able to break this zone, we have a high probability of making a shift back towards the upside where we can capitalize on that shift in trend. So now towards the Heikin Ashi, this is the 4 hour. We'll look at the hour. Actually, let's look at the hour chart first. So we can see, the price has not yet closed below the zone. We still got 7 hours and 21 minutes until the daily candle closes, but can't be safe to say, but it definitely seems like we could be closing below the zone, if not a little bit lower. Like we talked about before, there's not a tremendous amount of sell volume coming in on the downside, which is a little bit surprising, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a matter of if we'll be able to pull back and retest these zones before moving lower. And like we talked about before, we have a pretty good couple of levels here that we're going to be working with for horizontal levels of support where buyers could potentially be located. Also looking at the larger time frames as well. But with the break, we know what we're doing. We already talked about it multiple times. So we got a solid push to the downside. Candles are closing below the zone. Very strong move. Now we're looking for a pullback with less buy volume. We can already see that there's decreasing buy volume coming in with each wave. So we see that there's buy volume here, pushing the price up after it broke the resistance. We see that there's a lot of buy volume, right? There's increasing buy volume. And then from this wave right here, let's get our arrow. From this wave right here to then this wave, we see decreasing buy volume. And then this buy wave or uptick wave had even less buy volume. So now we're looking for the pullback to hopefully even have less volume or kind of similar, if not less than this area of buy pressure right here, signifying that there's decreasing buy volume and hopefully there's going to be more sell volume, because we do see that recently there's more sell volume, and kind of looking at the overall consolidation, we did see decreasing sell volume, and then right now we're seeing ramping action of sell volume. We're seeing a high here, and then 1, 2, 3, that's a ramping action of sell volume, and then we could see an even more significant bar if we do pull back and then make a huge slam, and it would act out perfectly because we would then get our buy volume to pick us back up kind of to around maybe 92 or 93 and 94. We don't exactly know. We'll have to look at the smaller term price action to verify when that crack will actually occur, and then we'll look to potentially hopefully get even more sell volume, kind of finishing off the ramping action with a massive red candle. So that's the outlook for the 4 hour. We will want to see sell pressure coming into the market, but the volume and the market structure and the price action all are indicating that we will see the sell pressure continue to the downside. So that is basically the overview for the 4 hour. Now we'll get into the 4 hour, but using the candles. Solid break. Not a whole lot more to talk about. Like we were looking for the lower low to come in. If we were looking for shorts, it came in, and now we're, like I said, looking for the pullback. Let's just see if we can actually get a pullback. You know, we could be drawing resistance and support zones all day long. We broke a little zone right there, and now we're kind of at our next zone here. So we might not come all the way back. We'll see how the smaller term price action goes. Definitely making a pretty massive dump right now. But not a tremendous amount of sell pressure actually coming into the market. We still got 18 minutes until this candle closes. But let's just look who's watching. Got no comments yet. But overall, it's not too unexpected. You know, this was a pretty strong level of support. But we did illustrate the scenario in which if it did push to the downside and break our strong level of support, we have a good idea of what we're going to do. And we kind of know exactly what we're going to do. We're going to wait for a pullback and then look to make a move to the downside. And this is kind of why we are trying to day trade as well as swing trade, is the ability to enter multiple trades on different time frames one is swing trade and then one is day trade. And at this point in time, to get the highest level of confirmation, we're wanting to see the pullback and we're wanting to enter at the completion of the exhaustion phase, which makes sense. But looking at the 4 hour and 1 hour, obviously it can take multiple days for the price to do this. And between that time, it just makes more sense to day trade and find good opportunities on the impulse and corrective pushes on the 4 hour, because you're just going with the trend, looking for momentum, looking for continuation patterns, and kind of scalping a little bit. But it was difficult to do if I was trying to type everything, obviously, because I'm using the 5-minute chart and I'm trying to type exactly what I'm doing on multiple time frames while I'm looking at the order book, while I'm looking at the price action. It was a little bit stressful, to say the least. But anyways, I think YouTube Live will be a better fit for the new structure that we're going to have. So now looking at the different types of tools that we have, seeing the market definitely take a bit of a nosedive here. We see that the price, or not the price, I guess this is an indicator, but what this is showing is the number of long positions that were taken on BTC on the Bitfinex exchange using margin. And the line here, the orange line, is for short. So this is the amount of short positions that were opened on margin calculated in BTC. And what we can see is both have significantly dropped. It just seems like there's a major lack of margin trades that are opened right now. So there was a huge dump in the shorts. So there was a huge lack in, it could just be one massive short seller taking off their position, right? We don't exactly know. It could be 100 people, but at the end, there is a huge amount of short sellers or a short seller that has now taken a massive position off, kind of taking away the short squeeze opportunity like we saw back in June and July. There was a massive short squeeze opportunity, and that's kind of, I think, why we got the massive move towards the upside kind of at the end. Is a lot of people just could not take the heat, and they got out having to buy back their position on the short, and then we saw a massive move basically hitting 14K in the summer of 2019. Not really seeing that, so we got to climb up with buyers slowly taking out all the asks and then moving the price up. So that is the overall outlook for that. Quickly looking at the questions here. Mitch Trades, or Mitchell Watts, says, could you see some support from the 200-day moving average? Yeah, potentially. We'll look at that right now. Let's look at the daily here. I think this would be a good daily to do it on. We see quite a bit of dumping. See, this is... Should I be entering? I see Link's a good opportunity I'm potentially looking to enter, but I also want to finish this. I'm going to finish this. It's okay. I can always enter a different position in the day. Moving average is what I'm looking for. And got to change that to 200. So let's go that. So seems like we passed it. I'm just going to make this a little bigger here and make it a little wider. Pretty big bounce here with a pretty solid wick to the downside on BTC, with massive rejections from the buyers on a lot of alts, mainly looking at XRP, EOS, and Ethereum right now on my other monitor. But going back to the moving average, we need to basically close at 87 in order for the daily to close at the zone. Could be a good possibility. You know, it's definitely, it flows pretty well. I think more or less we're looking for confluence as well. Like, I see the previous market structure resistance could be a level of support right there. You know, if we extend it a little bit higher to incorporate the larger time frame or the larger candles, theoretically, yeah, you could see a zone of confluence there. Just looking at the different potential opportunities we have to identify levels of confluence. And then let's click here. Another potential opportunity would be there. Obviously, we'd want to incorporate a projection. Oop, did not click the projection. This is pretty unconfirmed because we only have 2 touches on this zone, but this also could be a potential area where, oops, wrong one, where buyers could be located. And I think I was also looking at this zone right here, which is around the $8,200, $8,300 area, which could be, but we got a couple areas where buyers could be located. I think I'm just going to take the 200 moving average off. Mitch stated it's kind of breaking below it right now. Lol. Yeah, it definitely is. We'll see it where it closes, right? We still got 7 hours before this daily candle closes. And the past few candles we've seen, we have seen some buyers enter back into the market. So we'll see how it goes. BTC is dropping pretty quickly. Yeah, it definitely is. But yeah, as of right now, I'm going to take the moving average off. I think I will leave this zone right there to see if it's able to hold, give me a little bit more of a validation of that zone. I only really have 2 touches of that area, so it's not really a dependable zone. But if we zoom back, I'm sure we can find another connection point if we really, really wanted to. All the way back from like 2016, 2017, but we're not really going to be doing that. So that is the overall chart for BTC. Kind of sticking to the 1 hour. Yeah, we made a big dump here. Lots of sell pressure coming in. But just looking at the alts here. Not terrible. We went over the one tool that we have, and then we'll just quickly go over the other one that we have, which is looking at the buyers and sellers within the market on different exchanges. Quickly going over it, BitMEX, not a lot of discrepancy. First, looking at the 24-hour time frame, BitMEX has not a lot of discrepancy, 56% weighted towards the sellers. Binance as well, weighted towards more the sellers at 53%. Bybit, same thing, 52.5% more weighted towards the sellers. And then on the 1 hour time frame, same thing, all of them short. BitMEX is the most with 63.5% more weighted towards the short sellers, and then Binance is 58%, and then Bybit is 52%. So it's definitely more geared towards the sellers, obviously making sense because it's a lot more bearish in the market right now, seeing a tremendous amount of sell pressure. But what we're looking for is that pullback to kind of validate the market structure, seeing the lower high, potentially pulling back to the 91, potentially maybe to the 94. We'll see how the price action reacts. We might put a few feeler trades in the market. We'll see how it goes. Just looking at the market right now. So this would have been a good, remember those no feeler or no supply I put in the, actually, we'll talk about it at a later time. We'll talk about it in the crypto market updates. So thank you very much for watching. I didn't want to just ramble on for the end of the video. But thank you very much for watching. We will do a crypto market updates, and then with that one, we'll talk about smaller time frames as well, because like I said, we are looking to try to day trade, try to use the 5-minute chart to have those single pushes to the downside or upside, capturing still a very solid risk reward, but maybe we're risking, 0.5%, 1%, 1.5% instead of 3, 4, or maybe even 5% that we're sometimes risking, and then the risk reward's the same. We're looking for a minimum of 2, potentially 3, 4, somewhere around there. We're going to try to be pretty systematic with our day trades, looking at the order book and time and sales. And we will be having a YouTube live for our day trades. So then the Performante Premium members who do want to join in and day trade with us, that's fantastic. That's great. And then we'll be posting what trades we're entering, but then also kind of doing a more in-depth analysis within the video and then time stamping it, so then we're not sitting there writing, an exact reason word for word of why we're entering on different time frames, because when you're looking at the order book and time and sales and short-term day trading on a smaller time frame, it's hard to write a paragraph on why you're entering when you're in the act of trading. So hopefully that gives a little bit of explanation, and hopefully you got a little bit of value, knowledge, information, maybe even just a second opinion from this video. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, hope you guys have a good rest of the week.